Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Josh, and this is Stuart, and we're from Team HeatView. So we decided to tackle the problem of heat efficiency. Heat is the most costly form of energy to convert. It's the source of many households' pains and also businesses' pains in terms of heating bills. And it's due to rise year on year in terms of price for the next decade at least, are the current EU predictions. So we believe that to understand our energy usage is to aid in its reduction and to aid in its control. And that in turn will control cost and control carbon emissions. So the question is, where is the energy being wasted? Why is it being wasted? Can we fix the source of the wastage? And is it fixed properly whenever the fix is applied? So we can actually visualize heat escaping from a building, and this is in the form of infrared radiation. And if we can see where the infrared is leaking from the building, then we can make a really good guess on why that heat is leaking out. So what we want to do is provide a complete urban map of thermal imaging for Glasgow. This would have three main users, this mapping. Citizens, who would be able to see their buildings, their neighbourhood, perhaps their relatives, whether their buildings are leaking heat. They could perhaps share to them. It will raise awareness on the citizen level of the heat leakage from houses. There's then companies which are delivering government schemes for double glazing, for loft insulation, for wall insulation. Give them the ability to walk up to a house with an iPad and say, hey, look at all the heat that's coming out of your windows, or look that's coming out from the eaves. We can really save you some money in your energy bills, and the government will pay for some of it. Or the third user would be the city council, who has a massive estate over the city. It's very difficult and impossible to order detailed surveys on all of these buildings with thermal imaging cameras. With blanket, lower quality imaging, they'd be able to strategically allocate those funds, and therefore would be the third user of this system. So a little on how it works. I'll hand over to Stuart.
All right. Thank you very much. All right, I'm going to give you a quick introduction to what was going on. How do we actually collect this data? So I have to say thank you very much to a company in Cambridge called Thermotechnics, who are a world leader, Queen's Award for Enterprise company in IR camera tech. They very, very kindly provided me a camera worth several £1,000s for this very event, which has to go back very soon, so I need to get as much data as possible. They helped us along the way, tried to help us spec up the correct camera for this. There is much more we can do with that. So you can see on the left here, we got this camera and we mounted it, duct taped it to the top of the car. It quadrupled the value of the car, my Ford Focus. So you get the idea. So very, very careful, lots of duct tape. Inside the car was my laptop and an awful lot of wires and cabling. We had an inverter providing power, external hard drives recording data, 2 GPSs in the far right that you can see, high quality GPS and the iPhone giving more data. All this was logged onto a hard drive. This data is going to be available to share. I've spoken to Devon. It should be available to all of you. We hope to try and open up as much of this data as we can. So in the case for 4 hours on Friday night, you can see there's about 20,000 images condensed into here. Okay, each image has each point here is a postcode minus the last character across Glasgow aggregated. There's about 3 billion data points. Bear in mind, each pixel in each one of those images is a thermal temperature point on that building or somewhere in that area. That's what's aggregated here. So each one of those represents the heat in that area aggregated across all of those. It's essentially big data. Okay, so what exactly is it that we're trying to offer here to people? 2 things. Number one, we have a web interface that's tweeted. You can go and check this out and demo it, and you'll be able to go and look up, and you can see where we drove around the city, and you can go and take a look at the street view imagery and see the heat in that area. Take a look. We've also got the open data that we've merged in with that. So for example, the house prices, and we've given you some information on how heat effective in comparison contrast in other parts of the city. Addition to that, we've got thermal analytics. So this is the idea that this information is commercially very, very, very useful. People can exploit this to try and sell ways of improving this energy with this knowledge. This is how we pay and sustain this service over time. That's the 2 value propositions we've got. I'll invite some discussion about privacy in the questions. We haven't got time to cover it too much here. So overall, this took quite a lot of planning, trying to get hold of the camera, figure out, will it work? We weren't entirely sure. We tested it. So feasibility, very clear. This is possible. It will work. And so we need to try and explore this further. So we know that it's a great great value this data, brilliant. And we know it would be a global first, so it's high impact if we can make this work. So we want support.
Thank you, HeatView.
All right, so invite any questions from the guests here.
Could you just re-emphasize for us the value of having this data?
I'll pass this one on to a man who's been scheming up the business side of stuff.
So just to clarify, I assume you mean in a commercial sense?
Yeah, in a commercial sense, but also in the sense to greater society.
Okay.
Actually, it's probably a good idea to go back to those images and explain what is being
Sure,
shown in
certainly,
those
no
images.
bother.
Let's just actually go back to these images and explain what you're seeing here, which
Yep.
we didn't have time to go over. So,
Okay, so if I give a brief explanation. Up on the top here, we have two separate dwellings. So these are old tenements. I believe they're in Jordan Hill. In Jordan Hill, yep.
These are very expensive Victorian tenements.
So on the top floor, you have a flat that's fully double glazed. And you can see here, very little energy leakage out. In fact, there is some leakage from the edge, actually. But that's due to some warping of the frame that occurs over time. So you can actually tell that this double glazing is actually quite old. On the bottom, single glazing, no double glazing at all. And you can actually see from the coloration here, on both colorations, that there's a substantial amount of energy leaking through. This provides a signal to the homeowner if they're looking, or to anyone who's aggregating those statistics, that that house is eligible for the upgrade to double glazing, would benefit from it. And would probably save money as a result over the long term. So that's the benefit to a couple of different organisations. At the bottom here, this is actually a council building. They did clad this, so they're very good and proactive in that approach, but they forgot the stairwell.
This picture is taken from Tesco Merry Hill is on the left-hand side. We're actually at the traffic lights here. And 300 metres away, you can see the stairwell on Merry Hill Tower block here. They've obviously clad the building, but the stairwell is still emitting an awful lot of heat. So pick up that much heat from 300 metres away, it must be pretty warm. Where's that heat coming from? Well, it's clearly the people that live inside Merry Hill Tower block are paying to heat that stairwell. Oh, sorry, are paying to heat that stairwell, and it's costing them an awful lot of money, and so it's just essentially wasted energy that they probably don't realise.
Yeah, I think, you know, my flat's single glazing. I know I'm losing heat through the windows.
Yeah.
So I'm struggling to understand where the greater benefit is for everyone to know this.
Yeah. So, I mean, essentially, there are many pain points. I mean, Glasgow's pretty unique in its architecture, these old buildings. So, for example, you can see around here. So, this is in Jordan, this is actually in Highland. This is all modern spec, newly developed flats that have been ripped out. And what's happened is all double glazed, new spec, new building regs. This is an old student let. We can see the ceiling is letting out a lot of heat here. So, we know there are numerous things, not just double glazing, but the heat can be improved.
Yep, sorry, I have the feeling we've been dodging around your question and not actually getting what you're looking for. So you're looking for a big picture view of collecting this data. What can we then do with it? Yeah, okay. So this kind of data doesn't exist anywhere. We don't have a sort of continuous look at the thermal spectrum across areas of this size and complexity. Academic use is one sort of application. Academics would die to get their hands on this. We have 4 PhDs on this team who could confirm that fact. And then there's also the fact that whenever you start to analyse this data and go through it, nuances will turn into business opportunities, which will then fund some of the businesses that you'll hopefully see coming through your incubator.
Okay, thank you, HeatView.